Hello there. Could Nigel Farage really be forced to leave the UK? Is the establishment winning in its battle to reverse Brexit? Recently, Nigel Farage, the former leader of UKIP and the former leader of the Brexit Party, now renamed Reform UK, tweeted on the 7th anniversary of the 2016 EU referendum last week, "Happy Brexit Day. If we have to fight this all over again, then we will." And looking at the way the Tory government is now leaning towards Brussels with a defence union with the EU, as well as all the lies being spread by the Remoaners trying to blame the fallout from the pandemic and the Ukraine war on Brexit, you can imagine that we might well have to fight it all over again. And what do we find out today? Nigel Farage got notified by his bank that his personal and business accounts would be shut down, with no reason given, he says. Putting out a video on Twitter saying, "The establishment are trying to force me out of the UK by closing my bank accounts. I have been given no explanation or recourse as to why this is happening to me. This is serious political persecution at the very highest level of our system. If they can do it to me, they can do it to you too." Exactly, and most of the rest of us don't have the high profile to fight it. And Farage said that he's been trying to open personal and business accounts with other banks, but so far, after 7 inquiries, he has been declined every time. And it appears that there is actually no right in this country to have a bank account. No right to be able to engage financially with our modern society. How strange. Maybe that's something we do need to change. As Nigel Farage says, you become a non-person without a bank account. And because of that, if he can't get a bank account, Farage says he might well be forced to leave the country. The Remoaners thought getting rid of Boris before he could get the UK past the point of no returning to the EU would give them a chance to start the process of reversing Brexit. But getting rid of Farage would be the icing on the cake for them, especially as he said that he would take up the battle again if needed. But now we also hear that the Committee of Privileges that defenestrated Boris Johnson has put together a special report about those MPs who had the temerity to call the inquiry and the way it was conducted into question, as well as asking why Harriet Harman, with a predisposition to declare Johnson guilty, as shown by previous tweets, had not recused herself. And this report names Nadine Dorries, Zach Goldsmith, Mark Jenkinson, Michael Fabricant, Brendan Clark-Smith, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Andrea Jenkins and Priti Patel, telling their fellow MPs in the House that these 7 Tory MPs were nasty to them, so they must be punished. In that these MPs went out and about criticising the work of the committee while an inquiry was in progress, as well as conducting an email campaign to pressure committee members. And the Leader of the House, Penny Mordaunt, has already agreed to have a debate and vote on this on the 10th of July. And crucially, the report says, it will be for the House to consider what further action, if any, to take in respect of members of the House referred to in this special report. Looks to me like they're fishing for a vote for the suspension of those MPs to send a message, never question or argue. Sounds to me like someone is smelling blood here. I'm wondering if we'll end up with lengthy suspensions for these people too. And looking at all of this, you get the idea that there's an attempt at a wide-ranging clear-out of Brexiteers in progress. I wonder why. And on top of all of that, the appeal court today decided on a vote of 2 judges to 1 to declare Suella Braverman's Rwanda plan as unlawful. It said that it would be unsafe to send some of our new arrivals to Rwanda. despite the fact that the UNHCR, the UN's own refugee agency, has just signed a new agreement to send migrants from Libya to Rwanda. Here's what it says on the UNHCR website. At the end of 2021, Rwanda hosted slightly over 127,000 refugees, mainly from the Democratic Republic of Congo and Burundi. Of these, 76% are women and children. At least 12,700 refugees reside in urban areas. Refugees have the right to work and are progressively integrated into national systems by the government of Rwanda. So the UN is happy with Rwanda. The UN obviously thinks that Rwanda is a safe country to send people to and that their processes are also safe. So why are our so-called elite looking down on Rwanda and its people like they're so much rubbish? In any other context, this denigration of a country and its people would be causing a lefty meltdown of epic proportions. And the EU sends people to Rwanda, and Germany is looking to copy our plan. So why is it different when the UK wants to do the same thing? And stopping the boats is essential for our safety, given that a major terrorist attack against the UK has been foiled. A few days ago, Iraqi special forces found a plan for British IS terrorists to conduct attacks in Britain, with the information being passed on to the UK authorities. Now, this isn't the end of the Rwanda issue, and both the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and his Home Secretary Suella Braverman look to be in fighting spirit over this, and we're told the government will be appealing this decision in the Supreme Court. And it was always going to end up there in the Supreme Court, whether the government won or not. And there has been talk that there might be a slot in October this year for it. But at the same time, the House of Lords has inflicted a series of defeats on the government over its illegal immigration bill. And one of them was to insert an amendment that would allow anyone who arrived during the period of March the 7th until the bill is enacted and are claiming amnesty and protection from slavery can stay in the UK. But Rishi is now vowing to take the battle to the Lords for blocking this legislation. "We will not be doing this the polite way," said an Express source. "There will be a showdown in the week before the summer recess." And one Tory MP, James Daly, who sits on the Home Affairs Select Committee, said that taking the battle to the Lords was the right thing to do, and that those in the upper house have no idea about the concerns that the public have about our open borders, and they don't seem to care either. "It is time they stopped frustrating the will of the people," Daly said. I disagree that this is because the members of the House of Lords don't care. I'm convinced they're working to a different agenda, an agenda where the needs and wants of the UK people don't even come in second place, and nor does protecting us from terrorist attacks, it seems. This is the people versus the blob and a few vocal people, all on multiple fronts. It's becoming clearer by the day that until we leave the ECHR and repeal the Human Rights Act and replace it with a legal device of our own making and reform our establishment blob, until then the UK has totally open borders and little chance of repatriating anyone. We must act now. Richard.
If the shutting down of Nigel Farage's bank accounts is part of some establishment plot, these are worrying times. If that's the case, these are very worrying times, because it means that the establishment itself is, well, it could be construed as being quite desperate, but I think more to the point is it's becoming very bold in its actions to protect itself. I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened. Look at the Free Speech Union with Toby Young. They had their PayPal account shut down for a period of time. I think that's been reinstated, I'm not entirely sure. And then there is the issues that Lawrence Fox has had with bank accounts, I believe his own bank accounts, and also the bank accounts he required to set up the Reclaim Party for donations, etc. This is becoming quite worrying. I mean, this is overt. Nigel Farage has this incredible platform via GB News to broadcast this. So does Lawrence Fox. So why are they being so bold? Well, it's almost as if they're not frightened at all, which suggests to me that something quite sinister is coming along on the horizon. I don't know. I could be wrong. There we go. Now, I'd like to just quickly mention before I go the excess deaths that Jeff reported on yesterday. Now, you need to think about this. Just to put this into context, the amount of people who are dying per month, it's pretty much around the same sort of level as a 9/11 taking place on British soil every month. And yet there's no massive outcry by the media. There's no investigations taking place into these excess deaths. Why? Is there something to hide? Can't think what that would be. Oh, don't you start thinking it's that. No, you conspiracy theorists. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed today's videos, and we will see you again tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in first to Jeff's midday 1 o'clock video, and then we will both see you at 7 p.m. Take care. Bye now.